What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're for a brand new Madden 26 realistic rebuild, where we have realistic college draft classes for 2026 and 2027, and we're going to use some of those popular players in college, bring them in the world of Madden, and try and win a Super Bowl. And I figure we just finished with the Dallas Cowboys, we've rebuilt the New York Giants, we've rebuilt, the Eagles will be at some point, because obviously they're very, very good. But I saw enough comments and be like, you know what, screw it, let's finish the NFC East now. And you can make the argument, out of all the teams that we've got to rebuild, the Commanders certainly are near the top of the list of just interesting. Now, anytime I speak on the Commanders, Giants, or Cowboys, I'm going to be viewed as biased. But I did multiple times say on old social media on X, give me a follow, Papa XC4, that I think the most overrated team, without a shadow of a doubt, was the Commanders. Last year, they insanely overachieved during Jayden Daniels' rookie campaign, and then you met the pace car in the NFC, in the Philadelphia Eagles, and we dropped, if we tried, we could have probably put 60 points up in that game, right? But I will admit, as an Eagle fan, I was like, God damn, they got this far with a rookie Jayden Daniels, and the moves they made last year were like, okay, that front office, that brand new front office, no more Dan Snyder, like, this could be an issue. And then what they did was probably the worst. I think Larry Tunsil was worth it. I think every other move they made was like, what are we doing here, man? Right? They just decided we're going to go get a bunch of old players, old washed players, and that's going to be the missing piece to have us beat the Eagles and then get to that next step and make a super. I was shocked at how bad of an offseason the Commanders had, and then that combined with the fact that they've just real bad injury bug throughout this season. They're 3 wins. They're looking like you're very much on the fringe of mock draft season if you're a Commanders fan. I think there's a chance you might get Jayden Daniels back for the last month of the season after suffering a fairly gruesome arm injury, which is brutal to see. But that we're gonna follow along with that. We also have the injury on the defensive side of the ball. Marshon Lattimore, another washed veteran that this Commanders team wants to continue to employ. I mean, you went into this offseason fully healthy, right? You have Jayden Daniels sick, right? Sucks that Scary Terry's been out of the lineup, but still, veteran win now player, not a bad thing, but you go out and get Deebo Samuel. I bet you the 49ers are smiling ear to ear that someone wanted to take on his contract, right? Your starting running back going there was Austin Eckler. Your starting tight end, Zach Ertz. Defensively, you had Marshon Lattimore, who was incredibly washed a year ago. You're like, no, he's going to turn it around, I think. Your best linebacker is Bobby Wagner. Is he 40? So, Von Miller. Oh, we need to fix our pass rush, so we get Von Miller. I was smiling ear to ear, man. I knew this was not going to be a great season, but it could have been. I think if they approach free agency a little bit differently, understanding that you are now assuming Jayden Daniels, I'm not going to say the other quarterback, that we don't want him. Even as an Eagle fan, for the sake of football, we don't want him to follow a former potentially great Commander quarterback that got hurt and then never was the same. Assuming that he's going to be good, he's going to get healthy, you are now operating and building this team while he's on his rookie contract. That is your first kind of window to retool, reload, and I thought they utterly failed this quarterback with that offseason. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take over this team that is an inflated, bloated roster, and we're going to have to find some upside players. We're going to have to find some guys that are elevators so that we're going to give Jayden Daniels the best chance to win a Super Bowl. But, even before Jayden Daniels got hurt, I feel like this Commander team didn't look that impressive. Have they looked impressive at any point this season? I did pick up Marcus Mariota for fantasy this week on my Daniel Jones bye week. I hope he absolutely tees off on the Miami Dolphins. But we feel good about the quarterback when you're kind of picturing where this thing is going. Running back room, you got Bill, who's kind of a funny meme. I think for the sake of this rebuild, we're going to let him be our starting running back just to see if we can get a cheap upside running back. I think if he continues to start this year, maybe we can get a star dev trade. I don't know. But big picture right now, I would say running back is a question mark for this roster. Receiving, Zachary, it's just, you had the contract issue with Scary Terry. You had to figure that out. I think you have to pay him. I think I view this, and this is going to sound incredibly arrogant, I view this from a point of privilege, as my team is the best ran team, maybe in all of sports. If Howie Roseman was general manager of the Commanders, he still would have paid Scary Terry. So that is the right thing to do, but we're going to need to find other options. And we also know that Scary Terry's probably only going to regress from here on out in this rebuild, so that's something we need to figure out. They got, Jalen Lane, very athletic rookie for Virginia Tech. Is he going to be a guy that can develop into a long-term wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 for us? Same with Luke McCaffrey. I don't know, man. We might have to completely overhaul this receiving core. Offensive line Cosme's good. Brandon Coleman has a dev trait. Josh Connolly, the rookie, has a dev trait. We're going to throw him to the Wolves out at right tackle. Tunsil's a win-now player. We're going to try to continue to win now with Tunsil. I think the offensive line, mixed bag. We will see. Could be good, could be not good. Bobby Wagner just continuing to be a tackle machine, even though, my God, it's rough watching him in coverage. The pass rush is, very old. So we're going to have to retool absolutely that pass rush. I think we got some guys in the secondary, though, that I do like. I'll say that is Marshawn Lattimore, not so much, but I think Mike Sammer still with 4 picks. Like that could, especially if you can pop a couple more before the end of the year, that could be a dev trade increase. I also like Amos. He was a guy I wanted my Philadelphia Eagles to target. I think he's kind of been up and down as a rookie, but I think generally speaking, you're kind of optimistic. 6 PBUs there that he could eventually lock down and establish himself as a clear-cut starter for the Commanders, and I kind of hope that's going to be the case. Quan Martin at safety is also big-time athlete, solid playmaker. Luvu, for what it's worth, solid contributor. Could be here longer than maybe I'm foreseeing right now. He could be a guy that we just constantly goes up. I'm hoping he's one of those players because I've seen it from afar, just rebuilding other teams and paying attention, that I've seen him kind of go up dev trade a lot, Luvu, in his older years. So maybe that could be something in play for our defense that is really lacking star talent. Good news is we have $96 million of salary cap right now to work with. So Debo's gone, Noah Brown's gone, Darnell Savage is gone. I don't know if I'm going to re-sign any of these players. I think Jacob Martin's been like a solid pass rush rotational guy. But I will say, I did not know that these are the players that were potentially heading to the exit here. I mean, maybe Bobby Wags on a 1 year. He's 92. There's no way he's going to regress too bad. I'm not going to spend it. Can I get you on a 1 year 20? So there we go. We'll keep Bobby Wagner. Just don't put him in coverage. But everyone else, I will say impressive that they're going to be able to dump off all these old players and really start a rebuild like we're going to do IRL. All right, it's all been bad news. We've yet to win, but we might have a Bill breakout. And I think for any Commander fans that are watching this video, you'd probably like to see Bill, some of these guys, become a dude. So 2 touchdowns feels, this should be an easier breakout scenario. He's trying to go from normal up to a star. So I think 125, right? He's receiving back. 75 and a touchdown. Let's go 125 total. I think we can get the yardage there. I think Dan Quinn is confident we can get the yardage here against the New York Giants. Come on, Bill. We can get a free star dev trade increase. Because, I don't know. It's going to take a minute for that production. I don't think he's going to be like Offensive Rookie of the Year. We're not really putting up a whole lot of points. But with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, maybe we're running the football a little bit more. And we only put up 10 points against the Giants. No, it's not going to be good. Right now, I'm hoping we might just get the sympathy XP thrown his way. Come on, coach. Grind never stops. Give me 4,000 XP, please. Wow, we get nothing. Great. So the interview number 1, we decided not to have Jayden Daniels come back. We got a big win over Dallas, which I don't want late season wins like that. Especially when, 3-14 would likely only help continue a higher draft pick. But we have the number 2 pick in the draft. So that's sick. With the path the Commanders are on right now, I think most Commander fans are probably like, screw it, give me as close to a top 5 pick as we can get. Well, we got number 2, so that's good. I'm happy that we have the tiebreaker here over the Browns. And I think kind of just committing with Mariota and not rushing Jayden Daniels back certainly helps with the tank a little bit. Going 12-12 touchdown interceptions for Mariota is... Thank you, boss, for helping us get that number 2 pick. We have Bill, didn't get 1,000 yards. Oh, man, that would have been so sick. 1,000 yards, you would have got that rookie running back. That would have been like 25,000 XP, but we did get double-digit touchdowns. So enough for me to be like, I don't know. I think we give Bill another year as our starting running back. Receiving, no 1,000-yard receivers. Scary Terry, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna probably put him in the slot from when we started this rebuild to try to like, all right, let's see if we can get you to finish our wide receiver run, which he was able to do so. But other than that, just really depressing passing numbers there. Bobby Wagner, tackle machine, that's about all he's good for at this point. But that's all we need him to do. Plus 11 TFLs, 2 sacks and a pick. Our pass rush, not great. I mean, you're looking here long term. You know, Deron Payne could probably still be here for a minute. So 15 TFLs, 6 sacks from a 320-pound nose tackle. That's pretty good. Definitely was kind of hoping Frankie Louva would give us a little bit more pass rush help there. And shout out Mikey Samerstill leading the team with 5 picks. Obviously, no award winners for the Commanders this year. Our closest one was Bill, coming in number 3 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, the good news is we have the number 2 pick in the draft. So, really going to have our picker litter. Not going to go Caleb Downs. Just used him in our Dallas Cowboy rebuild. So, if you don't want to see how good Caleb Downs can be, go check that out. Yeah, I mean, the good news about this Commanders team is there's no real wrong option. We can go anywhere for our pick. Like, TJ Parker could make a lot of sense if we want to go pass rusher. Also, to be honest, we could trade out of this pick for a quarterback needy team if the price is right. I mean, I don't really want to give up an opportunity because it's a realistic rebuild to get the pick of a litter, pretty much, of a very fun player that could slap right in the thumbnail. But, you know, we should at least hear out what kind of offers could come for pick 2. Well, surprise. Oh, the super old roster has retirements. Zach Ertz, legend, 13 years. One of the best tight ends I've ever seen. And we lose Bobby Wagner, who we just gave a contract extension to. That one kind of stinks. This is one more position we're going to have to go find. So in terms of starters, we need a new starting Mike and a new starting tight end. Now that we got everybody healthy, taking a look at the lineup here. Nice. Conley will be a starter at right tackle. I think we go Coleman with the dev trade at left guard. That's an offensive line. We can work with that. Find a tight end. We get a dev trade increase. Bill goes up to a star dev. I love seeing that. Okay, everything else is kind of like, all right, let's wait and see. And we don't lose the X factor on Jayden Daniels. Very lucky there. Defensively, again, I wasn't off the top of my head super familiar with the dev traits across the board, but I do believe Samerstill goes from star up to a superstar. Let's go. That's pretty, and he's a badass player. Big fan of his game. So we got a lot of the old heads off the roster being just letting their contract expire or they retired. So now I got to go through and turn to, what is this contract? John Bates? What are we doing? We're going to move on from Allegretti. That stays up about $5 million. What is this, Javon Kinlaw? Oh my God, dude. Terrible contracts we have on this roster that I can't move off from right now. There's an easy contract that we probably should move off from, but the state of our secondary, you know, we could relegate him to like, you know, corner 2. I'm getting this awesome glass animation here. We're looking at our picks. We don't even have a 2 and a 4. 1, 3, 5, 6, 6, 7. So in the argument of potentially trading out of that number 2 pick, we definitely could use a lot more picks. We have a full slate the next couple years, so it's only this year that we're a little bit light. Like, this would be one of those ones. It'd take a lot for me probably to want to trade number 2, but if like Dallas, do the Rams have 2 first-round picks as well? Any team that is 2, if I can get 2 first-round picks this year in 2026 for pick 2, that's probably my dream situation. All right, we have $114 million. Let's see if free agency is going to be worth it. I can tell from just the first initial batch here, this is going to be a dog shit free agency class. I think Algier could be interesting as a starter, but I like to continue with Bill. We're letting Deebo Samuel walk, and of course he's by far and away the highest rated free agency wide receiver because of course he would be. There's nothing really piquing my interest here. I'm going to throw a bit on Isaiah Likely just because any somewhat decent free agent that could get better, I think we need to be aggressive on because we literally have so many positions and we don't have a lot of premier picks I don't really want to invest a premier pick, like a first, second, third round pick right now with their other needs at that tight end position. So if we can bring in Isaiah Likely at 26.78, has a dev trait, IRL makes sense too if he hits the open market. Probably one of the more intriguing, is it fair to call him a backup tight end? He's a part of that Ravens offense, but, not really tight end one with Mark Andrews there. But I think we've seen a lot of flashes that Likely can be a starting tight end in this league. And that could work out. Jalen Phillips, wow, Philly doesn't re-sign him. They just kind of use him as a rental. I think if there was interest there and I wouldn't have to overpay, I think I'd be in. But the fact that there's 7 teams interested, and I'd probably have to pay $20 million a year, like $4 to $5 million over that expected value, I'd rather not for a 27-year-old. I think we're in the business of rentals and knowing that we got to get some rentals. I think like Azeez Ojulari on a 2-year has a dev trait. I think from you got to view that from a Madden standpoint. In real life, I mean, he can't even, I think he's usually a healthy scratch for the Eagles. But that, maybe. All it takes, especially if it's just for whatever reason, if he can get like 8-9 sacks as a starter for us next year, there could be something there. You know what? This is one of those situations. Nakobe Dean's almost always popping up in free agency, but I think this makes a lot of sense. He's a very good player. And I think if Philly decides not to retain his services, that's a franchise middle linebacker right there. So we're going to try to steal him away. Raiders are in on him. I don't think we can offer that much more money, but it's a competitive offer. And then I'm going to look at Brian Cook here at safety. I think he can play strong safety for us. So we'll go 3-year deal on him. No dev trait, 26. So I think this would be, not a crazy free agency period, but look, we're first for all these players. All of them would be starters. All of these are at positions that would kind of eliminate where we'd have to go in the draft. And let's see how I think Nakobe Dean's the one I'd want the most. I think he's the one that's probably the least likely to sign. We get all of them. Let's go. So I think going into the draft, this is our offense. We had Isaiah Likely at tight end. Suddenly not a need. I think wide receiver, S tier. I think that's it offensively. I think defensively, pass rush is probably going to be the best players that are going to be available at pick 2. And I think, Armstrong's solid for the time being. Ojulari was kind of a based off of free agency type move. But, this is going to be kind of our safety room. We get Martin and Cook. I like our corners. I think we're wide receiver. I think we are edge rush. I think, Deron Payne. I think Laramie Tunsil. Those guys are probably near the end of their time here. But then the question comes, if we trade Jeremiah Smith. The wide receiver class is next year, not this year. So with that pick 2, what kind of ammunition can we get for, I think that's how we start this whole process. I'm going to focus scout some wideouts, like Jordyn Tyson from Arizona State. We know there's going to be probably some nice edge rushers. But I think wide receivers clearly our biggest need, and next year's the year you want a wide receiver. I will say the thing that's a bummer is that we don't have our own second-round pick. And I see a lot of times like Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, Brazel, Bell, Nick Harbor, Concepcion, really good players fall to the second round that we would absolutely be able to get in the number 2 pick of the second round. Of course, we don't have that, so that's sick. So we ended up scouting the best this class has to offer at wide receiver. I think we've already used Carnell Tate in a rebuild, but round 1 talent. Jordyn Tyson, round 1 talent. Mekhi Lemon, first, second round talent. If we can't find a suitable trade, maybe we look at a trade down. Understanding that I've used Tyson in a rebuild, this would be, I'd want to trade down and probably get Jordyn Tyson this year. And where's he going at? Just out of curiosity. What? Okay, interesting. Currently not going in the first round. Okay. I like to start this trade once the clock's already rolling here. I want this first pick to go and teams to get desperate. So pick number 1, the Titans go Ruben Bain. Let's see if we can get an outrageous offer here. We are looking ideally. So for our second round pick, we can get pick 16 and a first next year. 2 firsts and a second. I don't hate that. 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third from Buffalo. And that would be trading all the way back to pick 30. Still could probably get a wide receiver this year and have ammunition next year. Because the problem is, I need picks for next. If I want to get Jeremiah Smith, and I'm not going to force that. I could literally be saying this, and obviously, if we draft him, he's in the thumbnail. You clicked it, you know what we did. Like, we're not going to be bad next year. We're going to have a healthy Jayden Daniels. We are not going to be picking in the top 3 to get Jeremiah Smith. So I want maybe 2. I don't know if there's any team that has 2 2027 firsts. But, like, I'd be willing to trade and mortgage to go get Jeremiah Smith if that's possible. But I don't hate that. 3 first-round picks. We'd get a second-round pick that we don't have this year. And we'd have 2 seconds next year. So we still would have 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year to make a trade-up if we wanted to. There we go. There's, again, slightly better. 26, 27, 28. We don't get as much later round compensation, but I mean, both these teams are good. Buffalo is consistently good in sim. Seattle is consistently good in sim. Whew. We get those. I called my bluff. I said, can we get 2 firsts? We got 2 firsts from the Rams, as well as a first next year. I like that one. That one's probably leading right now. I don't get the second round this year. I feel like if that was a 2026 second round, I'd 100% make that trade. I gotta go pick my kid up from school. It's running late. I'm gonna think about this trade and we'll figure it out. So way to make him earn it. I wanted that second round pick this year. So what we added to the trade. Where's my glasses? Forgot my glasses. I want to get a salary cap dump out of this. And he's still a solid player. Dorrance Armstrong, 79 star, but we're trying to save some money. So I was able to get a salary cap dump. They get pick 2. I had to throw in a 4th next year and a 4th 2 years down the line. Don't actually like giving up 2028 4th. That's once you get to the Madden generated classes. And I like those picks, 3rd and 4th rounds where we can do a lot of work. But we're able to get the meat of that Rams trade and that second rounder. Now there's just a level of like morbid curiosity. What did the Rams, like, is it a quarterback? Did Stafford retire and they want like a Mendoza? Okay, that's a badass trade. Good for them. All right, so look at how the board fell for us now at pick 18. Well, looking at all the players that have flown off the board, edge rushers, probably the big position that took a hit that we are certainly considering. But with pick 18 and 32, and I'm going to resist trading out of this pick again. But, I mean, Jeremiah Love is there. He's a legitimate, like, first-round caliber player. We have our pick of the litter at wide receiver, and the reality is we probably need 2 wide receivers in this rebuild. I think the also aspect of this reality is eventually we are going to be able to use Jeremiah Smith in a rebuild, but I think, he goes first sometimes. There's no way we're going to have, even with our 2 first-round picks next year, the ammunition that I'd feel comfortable trading up to get a Jeremiah Smith. So I think Jordyn Tyson being available here at 18. Now, it does look like wide receivers are falling a little bit. So, could we go elsewhere at 18? Like, Dunker could be good. You got Bailey, Dennis. I don't want to reuse some of these pass rushers that we've already used. Mason Thomas is a legit first-rounder. We've already used Arvell Reese. The value is incredible. And use him as a pass rusher right away. A.J. Harris is a legit first-rounder, of course. That was Chris Johnson. PFF darling. I mean, honestly, this is just one of those situations where we gotta trust the board here. Oh man, if Tyson's not available at 32. That's my worry. If I can get Arvell Reese at 18 and Jordyn Tyson at 32, we're laughing. If I go Arvell Reese at 18, he would still awesome player, top 5 true talent. We haven't fully scouted, even though I have used him in rebuilds before. And then we can't get Jordyn Tyson at 32. We have to settle for a Mekhi Lemon. I want Jordyn Tyson. But, I mean, again, just reiterating the issues with this team. We get in, you know, we need a wide receiver too. So whoever we get will be wide receiver too. Defensively, you know, yeah. I think that's what we got. I think we had to go Arvell Reese at 18, double up, use him in a couple different rebuilds here. I'm gonna move him right away from Sam, and he's number 5. We know he's a stud. We know he can be a stud. And I think, what was the rebuild we had Arvell Reese in? You guys remember? Was it we used Arvell Reese. What rebuild did we use him? What I remember about having Arvell V. Oh, we got him in the Jets rebuild. Is never really developed into a monster. So this is another opportunity with a new scheme, new system to see if we can get him to reach his potential. But now we're gonna keep it here live because I don't think I'm gonna trade up. But I mean, if Carnell Tate does go, then we know the next wide receiver that could go would be Jordyn Tyson. Or Jordyn Tyson goes first, and then we're shit out of luck. Well, let's just see if we can play hopefully a wide receiver goes that's not the one we want. And then maybe we try to make a trade up from 32. But very happy with Arvell Reese, top 5 talent player. Edge rusher, position in need. And then, come on. We might be able to have pick of the litter at wide receiver here. Come on. Come on, Jake. Illegal name, 31. We got it, 32. Jordyn Tyson. Not even going to think twice about it. Come on down. This is going to be our future. All-world. Wide receiver 1. Scary Terry for the time being. But, like, as Scary Terry regresses, this guy's going to step up. I think it's very unrealistic to assume that we could have got Jeremiah Smith, even though we've talked about it probably a little too much here for how unrealistic that is. But Jordyn Tyson is a special talent. He's a first-round caliber wide receiver in any year. Top 10 player in true value. Stud. Now, of course, with that second-round pick that I wanted thrown in, it's pretty much a third-round pick. It's the final pick of the second round, but I think we could still do damage with this. I think we're now in an interesting position where I think corner could be entertained. Chandler Rivers, Jermaine Matthews, both scheme fits. Scheme fits are always important with that house rule we have in our rebuilds that every player eventually has to be developed into a scheme fit. Is Malik Muhammad a scheme fit? He has that B zone coverage. Could be some interesting value there. But we do have, I think, our own pick in the third round. So he likely would be, you know, within the next 2 picks. I think grabbing a corner there. Torian York at linebacker. That could be a plug-and-play starter. Like Frankie Luvu's not getting any younger. And if Nakobe Dean's like the future for our linebacker, we got options here. Edge rusher, we could always, you got Derek Moore, Trey White from San Diego State, Caden Curry having a kind of a breakout campaign for Ohio State. Love the value at edge rusher. I think at center, Tyler Biadasz at center is probably the next kind of replaceable guy. Assuming that at like tackle, we're gonna just run Laramie Tunsil into the ground. We do have J.C. Davis. Kind of just, you know, looks solid C's across the board. But Laulu from Oregon here. Feel like, you know, a legal name. I feel like we could go here and trade Biadasz and then grab a corner. 73 at 64, but we do get a dev trade center right here. And we do big right X, man. 66. And I think here. Corner? Is corner the play? If I'm looking at like BPA, I mean, there's some great tight ends. If we didn't end up getting Isaiah Likely in free agency, I think that could absolutely track and be in play. I mean, the question is right now, is Derek Moore or Trey White better than Ojulari? They need a dev trade because Ojulari is still, 25 on a star dev. We have B-Power, C-Finesse on Derek Moore from Michigan, athletically speaking. I mean, not bad. Elite acceleration, change of direction, great speed. Or we look at Torian York, you know, undersized at 5'10", 220, A tackle, elite speed, elite jumping. I know Kyle Lewis from Pitt is also a dog. Perkins from Ole Miss is a dog. There's value if you don't go York. Like Lewis and Perkins could kind of fit that developmental linebacker role. And I mean, the saying here can go at corner. I am a fan of Chandler Rivers at a Duke. B press, C zone. You know, we don't care about, look at the elites. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Because I think the next player I want to get out the books is Marshawn Lattimore. So if Chandler Rivers has a dev trait, which we get, Rivers, Amos, Samerstill, those are 3 core guys in the secondary I can build on. Now we're in the 5th round, kind of looking at blind pick territory. Akeem Mesidor, Canadian bias, B power, B tackle, speed rusher, top 5 in the 40. I mean, we're kind of picking at scraps here in the 5th round. I'm interested. 6'3", 280, 150 at 130. Don't hate that. Wish there was a little Canadian bias in creating this class. If I made this class, I'd probably slap a hidden dev on him. 6th round, I'm just looking at depth. Eric Gentry's always been a very interesting profile at USC. 6'6", 225 at linebacker, A-zone coverage. Elite jumping for some reason. Let's see what we get. Ugh. Good athlete for that size. One of the best stories in college football. Kansie Matsuzawa, kicker who learned kicking on YouTube, went to Hawaii, is probably going to be one of the top draftable kicker prospects in this year's class. We need a kicker. And it's a value pick anyways, 101 at true value. All right, so you look at our draft recap. We get 2 70-plus special teamers. Don't have to worry about that for the rest of the rebuild. Gentry, 64. Mesidor, 68. Not bad for a blind pick. Chandler Rivers, 72 with a dev trait. We got Poncho Laulu. I don't know why that name's illegal. I'll go fix it, but I didn't want to fix it before showing you the rating, so that we know there's no shenanigans going on. 71 with a dev trait, which does make Biotish an interesting trade piece. But our 2 first-round picks, we are absolutely loving. Pick 32, we get a guy that we would have drafted at pick 18, Jordyn Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. Scheme fit already. That's another thing, man, that's very, very important to me. Trying to get as many scheme fits as we possibly can. Iolulu, scheme fit, pass protector, that is huge. Arvell Reese, we're going to be putting him down as an edge rusher, so like this archetype stuff doesn't really matter a whole lot. What a draft. And we got 2 first-round picks next year. Thank you very much, Rams. So Biotish became surplus after drafting Poncho, so we're going to throw him in, 81 star dev, and a 5th-round pick this year to get a 3rd-round pick in 2028 from the Atlanta Falcons. Out of back week 1, man, missing Jayden Daniels down the stretch. We smashed the Titans, and look at that performance. 5 touchdowns. He's a man on a mission this year in year 2 of this rebuild. Now the healthy Jayden Daniels, midway point of year 2. We're 6-5. We're competitive. Kind of been one of those years where like we beat the teams we're supposed to beat. Look at the top. Great example. Beat the Saints. Should beat them. Tough game against the Eagles. Can't find a way to beat them. But we do have a lot of green in the ratings through halfway of the year. 2nd in points. Top 5 passing offense. Top 10 defense overall. So I'm feeling pretty good. Looking at our contracts, we have well over $100 million, but this is where we got to get smart again with our money. I think Lattimore, he's burnt toast, he's gone. I think Tunsil is definitely one of those like situations where like, hey, why don't you want to retire, Commander? Get you locked in for 2 years. I don't think the regression will be too bad. I think Quan Martin's a serviceable starter. I think within that 3 years, we can get him for the rest of this prime. Should be, you know, mid-80s by the end of that. So that's more than capable of a starter. I think Deron Payne on a 1 year is... If we had a tight budget, I'd be a little concerned. But the fact that our budget is pretty much wide open, and this is like a 1-year rental, don't hate it. Like I'd probably go as high as like $23 million if you want it. But we'll keep Deron Payne back on that defensive line. Was very productive for us a year ago. I think if Louisville wanted like a 1 year, I'd keep him. 3 year, that is, I mean, at the end of that 3 year deal, he's going to be like a 74 normal. So I'm not liking that. But we don't want to spend for the sake of spending because with that $87 million remaining, we kind of now just need to plan for, we're going to decline the 5th-year option for Jayden Daniels, and we're going to have to find a way to win a Super Bowl with Jayden Daniels getting insane money. All right, that's more like it, man. We make the playoffs. 10-7. Got a decent amount of green there in the team ratings. Offense on point. Defense a lot better than what it was a year ago. And that hasn't been the case, man. I just have PTSD, man, from the Jets rebuild where it felt impossible to win. We had a defensive-minded head coach, and his scheme was ass. Dan Quinn's scheme, go Gators, is pretty damn good. Looking at Jayden Daniels, you know, you're top 10 in passing yards, almost top 5. You want to see more passing touchdowns. If we're being honest, 30 touchdowns. What do you do rushing? Ugh. Okay. I mean, everything's going to be relative. We're 99.9% going to re-sign him. I don't know. I don't want to say that this is our offense's final form and this is going to be his ceiling, but I think we should get a little bit more out of our X-Factor quarterback. But shout out Bill. 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. And it is a slog to develop him because our house rule is we have to invest points into scheme fit. And the Commanders are one of the rare teams that their archetype scheme fits a receiving back. So, yeah. That has been, his development is going to take quite some time. We're getting very much a big boost from that +5 morale. But, man, there's a chance, all things considered, he could go up dev trade again. Like, this could be looking like a superstar potentially. He's certainly going to be on the line. Receiving Scary Terry, 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns. The rookie Jordyn Tyson, 90 catches, 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 800 yards for Isaiah Likely. And Jordyn Tyson up to an 85 overall, playing like a 90 with the boost. Only a star dev trait, but you know what? He's going to be probably the player in the thumbnail here. Put the old C on his chest. Special player. Who needs Jeremiah Smith? Defensively, well, those are some pretty terrible sacks allowed. And Nakobe Dean coming in as like our big, gotta have it. There we go. We're going to finesse a divisional rival and get an excellent player. That is what you need to see. 140 tackles, 5 TFLs, 4 sacks. We get a 14-sack Arvell Reese game. Let's go. Last time we used Arvell Reese in a realistic rebuild. Terrible scheme. Never highlighted. And then we get 9.5 from Azeez Ojulari. 7 from Deron Payne. Gets that new contract with that 15 TFLs. Absolutely justified. Jason Newton, he's one of those guys I kind of penciled in. He's like, I can develop him. Kind of like, I don't know. Again, another player that is archetype scheme fit power rusher. It's taken a little bit of time here for the development. But I mean, that's not brutal at all, but I'm so happy Arvell Reese is a thing. Because what did we say? We used him in like the Jets rebuild, I think. Like he was not, I think maybe 1 year we got double-digit sacks. Starting out as a rookie, 14 sacks, superstar dev trait, working on his scheme fit as well as a power rusher. I mean, goddamn, man, we might get an X factor off of this one. And looking at the interception numbers, not terrible. Amos with 2, 3 for Quan Martin, got a new contract, 4 for Sam Still, who got the superstar dev last year, an absolute stud. Even though I kind of roast, I'm not going to say I roasted. I was critical of Jayden Daniels' production, still makes the short list for MVP. Jordyn Tyson wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Arvell Reese wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. So very similar. Speaking of the Jets, to like what happened when they had Wilson and Sauce Gardner winning both the awards. And with that, we get Arvell Reese now, all-time rookie season leader for the Commanders, single sacks. Tyson owns it for all of the receiving stats as well. But we get a tough matchup here to kick off our playoff run on the road against the 12-5 Detroit Lions, who are, honestly, we're kind of similarly built. I'd give them the slight advantage from rankings. They have a considerable advantage for their team roster. That's fine. We're ready to go beat dogs. Upset of the playoffs right here. Ford Field. I will say, as a neutral on that playoff game, that first kind of, what was it, last year? Or was it 2 years ago? One of them, it was just like an unbelievable environment. I'd love to go as a neutral, just to a Detroit Lions game. And not a bad first half. Ugly, low scoring. This is going to be, which team can protect the football a little bit. I think we have a nice little turnover there, and now we're falling behind. I think at the end of the day, we need Jayden Daniels to play better. Everyone's going to continue to get better, though. That's the best thing. Detroit is win now. Yeah, they got, like Jahmyr Gibbs, like I said, but like they have a lot of, like Jared Goff's a win now player. Jayden Daniels has to play better. 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 51% completion percentage. But like you look at, they got Gibbs. He did fumble it twice. But they got, they got the advantage there. But like J-Mo's getting up there a little bit. Laporta, Amon-Ra, like those guys there, like we're trying to get to that level, right? You look at, we have, 2 win-now players on offense in Tunsil and Scary Terry. Everyone else is going to be an ascending player. Whereas you look at the Detroit Lions, they have more veterans that are win-now, and maybe that was just the difference maker here with a very tough first playoff loss of this rebuild. Okay, don't love seeing that. Don't love losing our superstar left tackle who we thought we just locked in for 2 more years. Arvell Reese, we get 3 upgrade points for winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, we were unable to gain the Superstar Dev, but we can make him a full-on power rush, perfect player archetype. And it's always, you're asking for a lot to make the jump from Superstar up to an X Factor. But very excited to see what he can continue to do. He's everything that Chase Young was supposed to be. Ooh, but we gain a Superstar here on Jordyn Tyson, just kind of spending his upgrade point there. Okay, I mean, S-tier class. Trade out a pick 2. We gain an extra first-round pick for this upcoming draft class, and our 2 players in the first round, our Superstar Dev, kind of hitting the nitrous oxide on picking up the pace in this rebuild. As for the rest of the team, I mean, Scary Terry had a hell of a year, man. I don't know if this is just like an age thing. The regression, yeah, that regression is pretty harsh. -9. At least nothing from like an athletic standpoint. That, you know, the -3 short route running, it stings. But he's still going to be a valuable player for us. Need that mix to win now. But the fact of the matter is, now Coleman would be a player that I would not feel cheesy moving him to tackle because he was drafted as a tackle and played at guard. But that now becomes an S-tier need for us. We need a left tackle, be it we do have money in free agency. We do want to be kind of budgeting for Jayden Daniels, so I'd much rather like try to get it. We have 2 first-round picks. All right, we don't need Jeremiah Smith anymore, even though like I don't know why I'm keep bringing that up. That's just was a hypothetical. With those 2 first-round picks, we may need to be aggressive to get one of the top tackles in this class because I feel real good about the offense everywhere else. Defensively, yeah, I mean, we're going to be losing Marshawn Lattimore, but we got Rivers, can be the nickel, Samerstill and Amos on the outside, Reese, Payne, Newton, Ojulari. I mean, Ojulari, with his performance, he's kind of one of those guys, I don't really care what his rating is. If he can get 9.5 sacks as a 76 rated player, like, fine. Boom. Dan Quinn, scheme you open. Quan Martin goes from star to superstar after the contract extension, so that is awesome. We get a cheesy dev trait here on Medrano at Sam. I don't know how he gets a dev trait and Nakobe Dean doesn't, but we're going to need a linebacker as we're letting Frankie Lulu walk. So we're going to need a linebacker. We're going to need a tackle. And everything else would just be BPA. So in the offseason, we're going to decline the 5th-year option of Jayden Daniels. That's not bad. That is. What was the last contract we had? It was, it wasn't Dak. It was. Man, who was the last quarterback that we drafted? I remember because the contract was like. It was Julian Sayin, I think, with the Jets. And it was like a $500 million contract. So we get Jayden Daniels at 206. That is a lot cheaper than what I expected. But we're going to get younger here. We're going to let Lattimore and Lulu walk. And with 136, like we might be, that could be a tackle or a linebacker or like one of the, we could be aggressive for agency, but I'd limit to maybe one big move. Now, just to help with our salary cap fund, I'm going to get rid of some terrible contracts. John Bates, I don't know what you did to get that deal. You must be the best blocking tight end I've never heard of. We can also get rid of Javon Kinlaw's insane contract. So now we go in with $162 million of salary cap, but it takes 2 to tango. And wow, okay, Dallas lets Quinnen Williams walk for our needs. I mean, a wide receiver 3. Kind of a maybe, but I mean, none of these guys are that much better than Jalen Lane. Like, I like the athletic profile of Jalen Lane more than paying $11 million for a 3rd receiving option. Offensive line, if we're in the need of a tackle, we're not going to find it. There's some developmental guys, I suppose. But unless we just want, like, Brian O'Neill on a 1-year rental, which I'd rather look towards the draft, we're going to kind of sit put here. Pass rush, I mean, Tui Pelotu would be interesting. I think in hindsight, if we didn't have an Azeez Ojulari on the roster, I'd probably be all over that. But knowing that we can get almost 10 sacks by Ojulari now, and Ojulari still is an ascending player, not his ceiling yet, I think we're good there. D tackle, I mean, Quinnen Williams is probably going to be like the big splash, 29.89 superstar dev D tackle, but I like our D tackles that we got right now. Enough so that, again, it's not a bad thing to kind of be tight with our budget, pay Jayden Daniels, and then that's our budget is whatever Jayden Daniels is going to get paid. Whatever's left over is our budget that I should be operating with, that I'm going to be operating with hypothetically this free agency period. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Drew Sanders actually would be an interesting, like, similar style player as a Frankie Louvu, right? Kind of like a hybrid. I remember he was like a 5-star athlete when he was in college. So I think we could, spend a little bit of money there for sure. Like, I'd rather pay him than like D. Winters, who has no interest. Secondary, letting Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, we're really good with our corners right now. Really happy with that room. I'm really happy with our safety. So that is really the only guy. We need a long snapper versus just drafting one. Like, let's lock you in for the rest of this rebuild while we have great money. Great money. The best money going. Come on. Let's go. Sick, man. We were in, like, honestly, like a stretch of rebuilds where no matter, like, how high or low I came on the contracts, no one would pick my team. I think we've got every free agency target that we want so far with the Commanders. So Drew Sanders, I'm going to move him to the will linebacker spot. So we do the final mock draft, and I am going into this blind. I have no idea what our picks are going to be. All right, we got 22, which is our own pick. Ooh. 6? Wow. Okay. Pick of the litter for tackle. I mean, look at like where else I would want to go. I mean, these are like the premier players. These are the guys, call them thumbnail players, right? Like Jeremiah Smith, we can always use Jeremiah Smith. Don't need him though. We don't need pass rush. We don't need corner. We don't need quarterback. So yeah. We're in a real good spot here to get the best tackle that can come in and replace Laremy Tunsil without having to trade up. So I think we'll go look at Arvell from Ohio State. We got Brian Parker from Duke. I think he's like a PFF darling guy. We'll look at Lomu from Utah. We got Jordan Seaton, Carter Smith, Gooseby from Texas. I mean, let's just look at the top 3. Cover all our bases, see if we can sneak a top 5 talent out of that. All right, so the draft board falls as such. I don't like the best value might be trading out of this pick again for like a core. I don't really love doing that though, because obviously you can kind of take advantage of the game a little bit. I think the fact that we get pick of the litter for tackle, that's pretty badass. So look at the right tackle here. Nope, no thank you. Left tackle, it's Caleb Lomu from Utah. Come on down. Not even overthinking it. Laremy Tunsil with a surprise, fair to say, retirement. So we're going to go get a guy that's very hyped up. Both Utah tackles are outstanding. Lomu and I don't know, I can't remember the name of the other guy. Spencer Fano, maybe? Logan Fano, one of them. I know his brothers. Let's see. Lomu. For the top 10, I mean, we know he's not top 5. So, like, I'm expecting probably like 75, 76. Definitely will have a dev trade. Let's go. We'll stay put at 22, looking at the rest of the... Like, we're BPA right now. So I'm glad we didn't wait, because if we did... Look, Parker goes 11, tackle 13. A tackle goes at 18, 19, 20, 21. So that would have been incredibly frustrating. But, I mean, when we look at our team right now, it's almost like successor. So we got... do we want to continue to develop Coleman at guard, or is there an upgrade at guard? That could definitely be a discussion. Do we need to start to worry? Like, would it be the worst thing to bring in, like, an upside wide receiver, knowing that, like, maybe that upside wide receiver is going to, succeed Terry McLaurin when the time is right? Like, I think we will definitely look at the wideouts here. Defensively, I mean, we only have Deron Payne on a 1-year deal. Ojulari is not replaceable. So I'd say like those are probably like let's look D tackle, edge rusher, wide receiver for here at pick 22. Got to do probably a little bit of blind picks. So at D tackle we have David Stone. So not. I mean, we actually got David Stone in a rebuild not too long ago, and he developed into a monster for us. But I don't think it was like crazy base rating or anything like that. Edge rusher, we got Boubacar Traore from Notre Dame, Quincy Roach from Arkansas, Damon Wilson, Mizzou, Kenyatta Jackson from Ohio State. Or on the other side, we have John Henry Daly from Utah, Anthony Smith, Minnesota. Okay, I'm liking this 6'7". Bryce Young from Notre Dame. Okay, right now, edge rusher certainly is the strength. John Henry Daly is probably going to be, we could just double up on Utah Utes. Guard, we have first rounder still in Knapp. Or we have first rounder from Bisontis from Texas A&M. Whoa, 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 whoa. That would have been bad. Now let's go through the wide receivers real quick. What do we have here? Cam Coleman. I've already used him in a rebuild. It's kind of annoying. Let's... what are you looking like, Jacoby Lane? Elite jumping at 6'3". Is that worthy of a first-round pick? I'm thinking maybe we got B tackle. Oh yeah. No, I'm thinking we'd be real with ourselves. Ojulari, probably a scheme thing, like John Henry, a rookie with a higher upside. Let's do it. Should be, and more so because in the future, 48. Oh shit. Okay, at least we get the dev trait. Not great true value. We could like set our focus scope to wide receiver and pretty much get like the true value for the whole class, and like that's where you can find your studs. I'd rather do that and chase finding a wide receiver once we get to the generated classes is a lot easier than trying to chase pass rushers. But also, second round, Jacoby Lane and Ryan Wingo, both still on the board here. Whoa. All right, come on down, Ryan Wingo. I'm gonna bite on the athleticism here. Perfect fit. 54 at 54. With a dev trait, 6'2", 215, 95 acceleration, 97 jumping, 96. Good God. For the former 5-star. And he got berserk eyes. This guy he's juiced up. Here's why we're going to kind of take advantage of the draft class storyline, because I don't know if I'm going to want to pay Bill, right? Probably. But if not, Nate Frazier is a guy that's almost like a first, second, well, not a first round, but like a second, solid second round, consistent second round. He got in with a draft story that knocked him down 133, so I think the value is here. And as much as we like Bill, again, who knows? What if the number's a little high after we pay Jayden Daniels? We might not like it. So we'll get Nate Frazier, 77 entry value, 86, and we get the roll of dev trade. So feel pretty good about the class. Maybe the ratings aren't as high, but the fact that, we got a nice white lightning running back, Hanson from Iowa State. We got a draft story fall to our lap, insane value pick in Nate Frazier, 71 dev trait running back. Ryan Wingo, freak of nature, the exact type of like project wide receiver that by the time Scary Terry regresses to like we're kind of concerned level, or near the end of his contract, Ryan Wingo should be developing into that guy. And then we get an upside edge rusher here, John Henry Daly, one of the most underrated pass rushers in the nation. If you don't know, get on that hype train early, very special player. And we double up on the Utes with a number 6 pick, Caleb Alomu, franchise tackle, coming in to protect Jayden Daniels and replace Laramie Tunsil. No gas smash bongs needed. All right, so now we go into year 3. This is a pivotal year. We have, we got great rookie additions. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We got dev trait running back. Ryan Wingo is one of the best athletes we've seen come to the league. We get a franchise, hopefully, left tackle, who at least out of training camp, I'm able to get him up to a scheme fit. So look at that. Everyone outside of Cosme in the offensive line. Perfect scheme fit, feeling good. Defense, I'm hoping John Henry Daly. I'm hoping Arvell Reese continues to be that dude. We get Drew Sanders in free agency. Love to see Nakobe Dean get out that dev trait. Secondary, I'm optimistic that like maybe Amos. Got Chandler Rivers, Mike Sammer still. Like, I'm hoping these guys pop off. But everything this year is going to come down to the fact that we need to pay Jayden Daniels. And it's going to be expensive. And the rebuild's going to be very different after we do have to pay Jayden Daniels. Year 4 and year 5 is going to get tight from a budget standpoint. So we got a very nice 2-0 start, but we have to get this contract out of the way now. Because, you know, like, literally, if I waited a couple more weeks, that could be $230 million, depending on how it goes. Now, I don't know the fact that the reside interest here is pretty low. Something like this. 4-year, 218. Probably 220. Get that one done. Definitely want to keep Mike Samer still here. 3-year, 35. Done. Superstar corner. Newton's been like kind of like a guy I wish we could count on, but the development has not really been there. Ojolari's got replaced. Could probably draft a better guard than Brandon Coleman, paying that price. So yeah, I think, but yeah, I mean, he is a scheme fit. Interesting time. I think we just pay Jayden Daniels and we let the rest hit free agency, and we could still bring them back on the open market. All right, try 220 here for Jayden Daniels. Wow. How about 225, sir? Good, sir. Thank you. So the end of year 3, weird year, man. Okay, we win. We go 12-5, which is good. Not good enough to win our first NFC East, but it's a good record. You're going into the playoffs with some momentum. I will say, spoiler, Jayden Daniels didn't really have a crazy year, but like earlier in the season, he had a 5-touchdown performance. It was 4 passing, 1 rushing. And then he finishes week 18, 420, nice, and 6 total touchdowns. So his ceiling, if you will, he can play like the best player and the best quarterback in the league. However, when we look at his stats, 15th in yards, 14th in touchdowns, you know, is that really $200 million quarterback? I feel like we're doing a great job putting great weapons around him on offense. So, weird year. Run game's been on point, though. Old Bill, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. So, a lot of rushing touchdowns. Didn't get a 1,000-yard receiver, which, you know, with Jordyn Tyson being a superstar, that's a bummer. Considering, what, they both went over 1,000 yards a year ago, and nothing fucking changed. Exact same scheme. Exact same system. Ryan Wingo, the rookie, not too bad. Isaiah Likely was solid as well. Defensively, Nakobe Dean, tackle machine. He also threw in 4 interceptions. Maybe this will be a good enough season to get him off his normal dev trade. 10 sacks from the rookie John Henry Daly. 9 from Arvell Reese. 7.5 for Jazon Newton. I might resign him. He wanted to stay with the program. I can take 7.5 sacks from a D tackle. Deron Payne was solid as well. Interception numbers, 4 picks for Sanders. The big free agency, big free agency signing. 4 for Nakobe Dean. 3 for Samerstow, 3 for Mar. Okay, really happy with those INT numbers. Our only award winner, though, goes to Ryan Wingo on a year that it's kind of fair to say offensively, the sim numbers were the most whack they've been at any point. Maybe we're getting a little classic going back like maybe 2 Maddens ago. Year 3 was almost always an outlier year for whatever reason. Everyone sucks. Your team sucks. It's been a minute since it's been that case, and I really hope, you know, Jayden Daniels doesn't turn into a quarterback that you're, you know, pulling at teeth trying to get him to get 30 passing touchdowns. But we just saw an outstanding game in a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles where Jayden Daniels went off. So if he can play like that, if that's the form he's about to be going into this playoff run, we can absolutely go on the road at Ford Field and take down the Detroit Lions here in the wildcard round. This is a rematch. We were here a year ago. Didn't offer a whole lot, honestly. Wasn't our best performance offensively or defensively, but offensively was the issue. And it seems like right now offensively is kind of an issue. Come on. $200 million quarterback. Come on. Field goal. Not strong vibe. I don't got great vibes here. Again, 2 field goals, 2 red zones, 2 field goals, and gotta have it. Turnovers. Oh, this game's so ugly. How are we just needed a field goal to win. I will say right now, vibes. Vibes around this Commanders. I'm getting Jet vibes. Where I feel like maybe schematically, it doesn't matter what we do, we're gonna fucking suck. But we got a lot of salary cap still. After the Jayden Daniels contract, we got 2 more years to try to figure it out. But I'm going to say my gut feeling right now is that the Commanders' scheme sucks ass. 218 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, he's not playing well. I mean, there you go. That right there can single-handedly make my claim about scheme not matter. That is terrible performance from almost a 90 X-Factor quarterback, right? I have put weapons. You have Scary Terry. You have Jordyn Tyson, who's almost a 90. We bring in, like, your height, weight, speed athlete. Stop fucking sucking. I guess for what it's worth, we did lose to the eventual Super Bowl champion, so maybe there was no stop in Detroit. So going into year 4, we're at a point of rebuild where, like, I will take whatever we can get. And we got very generous, no dev trait regression on Tyson or Scary Terry, but we get an incredibly generous dev trait increase on Ryan Wingo. Now, he did win, you know, Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's always a chance, but I mean, like, statistically, he had like 700 yards. So the star dev goes to some superstar. You know, if you rank all the rookie wide receiver seasons we've had so far in a realistic rebuild, it's maybe the most undeserving to go up dev trait, but again, you know, we are underperforming. I will take any and all help that we can get. We're going to go into the offseason. We're going to need a new left guard. That is it offensively. Everyone else is running it back. Left guard, totally doable. We're in generated Madden classes. If they're there, I will find them. Defensively, I want to, from a dev trait. How is Nakobe Dean not going up dev trait? We get a normal to star dev on Brian Cook. We get superstar to an X Factor on Martin. We cannot, Nakobe Dean just 4 picks, 200 tackles, can't buy a dev trait increase. Kind of frustrating. But what we are going to do, I think, I'm going to try and get 7.5 sacks for Johnny Newton. We're going to bring him back. Let Daron Payne walk. My focus scouting for this upcoming draft was defensive tackle. We're going to find a D tackle. We're going to re-sign Newton. We're going to find a guard. And we'll go into free agency. If there's an overpowered, gotta sign it type player, we have the salary cap to do so. So we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Josh Connerly, get ahead of that contract extension. We are going to re-sign Jayden Newton on a 2-year deal at D tackle. I don't hate the idea of keeping Cohen, but, like, what's his ceiling? His ceiling's probably going to be like 78, 79. I mean, he is a scheme fit. Screw it. One less position I got to worry about in the draft. We can go all in on trying to find a stud defensive tackle. Because usually when I find, like, good guards, if you haven't noticed, there tend to be, like, the 330, like, it's almost like nose tackle cheese, but on offensive linemen. And we're pass protector scheme, so it takes so long to probably get a stud non-first round guard to a scheme fit because of the house rules that, like, Brandon Cohen might make a little bit more sense. Anyways, $111 million of salary cap. We are willing to do business at just about any position if it will make us significantly better. What do we get in free agency? Not a whole lot. Xavier Worthy at wide receiver, but we're good at wideout. We are very good at wideout. Wouldn't say he's necessarily a needle mover. Offensive line. Again, just kind of guys. No one that would really improve our team. Defensively, good about our pass rush. D tackle. This would have been like a great spot to get a sick roll. And it's 2 former teammates right there. Daron Payne, John Allen. I think we look elsewhere. We get younger at that position. Linebacker, we're good. Even though we're not getting dev traits, we're good. Cooper DeJean in the secondary. Very surprised he's interested. But I kind of like our corners that we have right now. You know, that'd probably be to win the bid. Probably closer to $25 million per year. When Amos is like an 86. We have Sammer still is like an 85 superstar, so a better dev trait than DeJean. And then we have Rivers as our third corner. He's like an 83. It's like all guys that, like, again, difference maker. Is Cooper DeJean coming to our secondary gonna be that difference maker? Unfortunately not. Maybe. Like, if we move Quan Martin back to free safety, Brian Cook is at his ceiling. And then we throw in like another 90 rated player back there. That could work. I think maybe that's the move. And I'm not going to overpay for McKinney, but at least let's throw a bid in. Maybe not. If we don't win a Super Bowl over the next 2 years, which we have no playoff success so far, this will be a rebuild that we return to at some point. And I don't know if I want to return to this rebuild with Xavier McKinney at like 34. Getting paid 20-some million. Like, I was kind of hoping, like, can we get like a 2-year deal? Like, what about like a 2-year, and then we'll go up to 15. And like, what's the lowest? I'm gonna go 30 a year. 2 years, 6. I mean, just insane money. Okay. So go to the draft. Our focus scout was D tackle. Didn't get, all the unveiling that we wanted, but we got a good idea who's going to be good. It looks like it's a strong D tackle class without having to like abuse the nose tackle cheese, which we could always revisit, maybe like day 3 of the draft. But I was like, all right, what's the top guy? Is he worth trading up? Where's a round 1 talent? I was kind of chasing after, like, is there a top 5 talent D tackle? We have Rich Williams here out of LSU as a first rounder, and then I was able to get Rashad Ali at a USC, a first, second rounder. That, depending on where we pick. Rich Williams looks pretty good. B finesse, A power, C tackle, B block shed. Combine is pretty, he's undersized. But if you get an undersized guy that still puts up 40 reps on his bench press, I'm interested at 295. We also have Rashad Ali from USC. Bs across the board. And also very, pretty much the same build. Maybe even a little more athletic. Like, this is one of those ones where, Rich Williams could be like a 76 normal, and Ali could be like a 74 dev trait. I would say that might be the difference in the athletic profile. But I feel like either option here, there's some D tackles for us to go replace Jordyn Tyson on that defensive front. Take a look at the final mock draft here, just to get an idea who's going where, who should be available to us. We're currently mocked to get Vince Burke. Oh, don't tell me that's because everyone else is going super early. All right, Rashad Ali going at 14th. Rich Williams at 9. Oh, of course, right? Of course this is the year defensive tackles are. So, I think it might make sense. 13's a lot more affordable to trade up than 8. I need one of these two, I feel like. Okay, good. Hey, Bengals wanted to trade down. They didn't want to necessarily stay there, so I threw a second-round pick in this year, which stings a little bit, but I have 2 third-round picks this year, so it kind of can offset in terms of, second, third round, not usually a huge difference. Had to throw in a future third-rounder to get that one done. I thought there was a chance they wouldn't accept that and had to come back with like a 2029 second, which I probably wouldn't have paid that price. But at least with this spot, we're able to get one of, the last D tackle that we have scouted. Who did look good. He might be my favorite D tackle. I wish it was scouted as a round 1 talent, not round 1-2. But I think, all the letter grades are good. And he's probably the best athlete at D tackle. USC, Rashad Ali. I'd say maybe the downside is that he's probably too close. Like Jerzon Newton's like an interior pass rusher guy. And Jordyn Tyson was kind of do it all. This guy here is maybe a little too similar profile to Jerzon Newton. But getting a guy that's sub 300 pounds, which is always like, you're getting your finesse. I'll take one every day of the week that has 93 strength with a dev trait. Now we're just BPA. All right, we needed a D tackle. Everything else is like, well, what do we got? And we got a wide receiver here. B deep route running. 4.2 speed. Elite acceleration. Great speed. I wish maybe it was an elite speed as well. But now I'm looking at like who's old, who's regressing. Scary Terry's next one up. If that starts to dwindle down, we're just going to want as many studs as we could possibly get. And we get just barely a value pick here in Abdul Jackson. Shit. Next up, Sam Cosmi, I guess, at guard is our veteran offensive line. And we got Roman here at guard, double Bs. Bench press is good. 40-yard dash. Best athlete at guard. Might be something here. Yep. Okay. Sick. A little nose tackle cheese never hurts anyone. There's not too many, but Zach Price is the only one that has a B, at least. B finesse move, C power A tackle, first bench press, sub 5. Like, he's almost as good of an athlete as our first round pick. So let's always stack these. Now, I like finding nose tackles. I like the nose tackle cheese. Makes me look like a better drafter than what I am. But there should be no scenario where, like, I aggressively have to trade up for a D tackle that I have scouted as a good player, for then just to use nose tackle cheese to get a better. I might have been able to get this guy in like the 7th round. Way too common. Please patch this. I will sacrifice looking a little less good of a drafter if these guys existed a little less. Because don't put the temptation out there. I'm going to take them almost every time. Oh, here we go. Elite strength tight end, and we get a dev trait. Get them. Blocking, elite strength tight end. Get them. Again, get them. So it ends up being a pretty crazy draft, all things considered. Oh, of course. Nothing like being excited about doing good business, trading up and getting a D-tack you love. Just to find the cheese guy in the 5th round that's even better. Sick. 69 running back, 72. Dev trait on the elite blocking strength tight end, which is kind of actually what we need to pair with Isaiah Likely. Roman 75 with the dev trait. Jackson 71 normal, probably our worst pick. And if you, anytime your worst pick is a 3rd round 70+ rated speedster, you're gonna be pretty happy. But happy with Ali, dev trait. Good draft. Good draft for how free agency was pretty non-existent after swinging and missing on Xavier McKinney. That's the kind of draft you need to have. And overall, pretty tame class, all things considered. Kind of uncommon for a Madden-generated class nowadays not to have at least a couple 80+ rated players. This one wasn't even close. So mid-season, very hot start for the Washington Commanders, 6-1. But it's I don't want to say bipolar, but I mean the result, 52-46. All right, so it's like offense on fire, defense kind of sus. Next week, beat the Bears, only 14 points, only give up 3. So we're kind of like, at least we're winning, but we don't really have an identity. Maybe the good news about not paying Xavier McKinney with $163 million, we got to throw some cash around here. We're gonna try and get Amos 76 mil done. Like keeping those homegrown talents. Same with Mr. Josh Connerly. Let's get that 3-year again, just in case we had to come back for a rebuild. I think there's some value on that contract for a franchise tackle. Brian Cook, replaceable. I think Sam Cosmi on a 2-year deal. No problem bringing that. He'd be one of those guys that if we decide, hey, let's get younger, he's probably going to be the best free agent available on the open market. You know what? I think Bill's earned a contract extension. 3-year, keep him for the rest of his prime. Under $13 million. You can live with that. Scary Terry, I mean, he needs to retire a Commander, even if we have to overpay a little bit, even if we have a good and interesting wide receiver room without him. I like the way Medrano has developed for us. So let's get him on a 3-year. Done. Throwing cash around. I think Likely's, he's been solid. That's a lot of money for a guy that's kind of been at his ceiling. And for what it's worth, look at that contract. We've got good and great news. The good news is the elite dev blocking tight end cheese, where it was almost guaranteed to be an X factor in previous Maddens, has continued as children. Now he's blocking tight end. That's not going to be a guy that I'm going to assume we start going forward. But now every time he gets an upgrade point, I will make him, you know, a scheme fit, which is possession, make him a little bit more of a receiver. That could be a swap right there. I mean, maybe we do that right now. All right? Why not? Why not? The other good news is Ali, a defensive tackle we traded for, is a superstar dev. Now, rating-wise, not great that we got, you know, the 5th round UDFA guy with a higher grade, but I'm going to be, I mean, there's a chance this guy is a crazy dev trait. But Ali with a superstar at least kind of justifies the trade-up that he's an absolute stud. Happy with that. So another solid season. We go 11-6. I think our team rating is probably the thing I feel the best about here. You know, we're an ascending squad. We have some veteran players, but for the most part, our team's going to continue to get better. 88s across the board. For our rankings, 3rd offense, top 10 defense. Within that, could be better, could be worse, could be better, though. I think for an 88 team, I'd expect a little bit more green ratings across the board. But the fact that we've gone 10-7, 12-5, 11-6 the last 3 years and have yet to get an NFC East title is certainly a little frustrating because you lose out on the Giants, who end up 12 wins is good enough to get the 1 seed. We're going to have to run the gauntlet again, 0-2 the last 2 years in the wild card round. This one here is going to be a road game against the Minnesota Vikings. For our numbers, Jayden Daniels was solid. It's one of those things when you look at his stat line, if the scheme accurately gave him like his rushing production that he should have, which, to be fair, like at minimum should be double what he's getting. Like he should be getting close to 500 yards rushing and 6 rushing touchdowns. If we were getting that with these passing numbers, I'd go, all right, that's checking out. That's exactly what we're looking for. The fact that he's getting like, 4,000 yards would have been nice. 33-6 is not brutal, but it certainly is not $200 million X-Factor quarterback stat line for the receiving group that we have. Bill's been solid. We did get back over 1,000 yards here. Jordyn Tyson, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. Wingo, just under 900 with 6. Just under 900 with 6 for Scary Terry. Moved Childress, obviously mid-season to be the starting tight end. I wasn't expecting crazy production there. Defensively, Nakobe Dean, our tackle machines here, just doing a great job on the sacks front. 16 sacks. Who would have thought John Henry Daly from Utah would kind of take over for Arvell Reese, who had a ridiculous rookie campaign? But, that's still solid. I think that if that's his floor, I'll be fine with it. But, after his first year, but this is the second realistic rebuild, we'll use Arvell Reese, who's going to be one of the biggest names in the 2026 draft class. The fact that, this is kind of what he was when we drafted him with the Jets, consistently flirting with double-digit sacks, far from what we got from John Henry Daly there. It kind of is what it is. 6.5 sacks from our superstar defensive tackle rookie, Rashad Ali. I like that. On the interception front, no crazy. But I will give credit where credit's due. So I think generally, not a fan of this scheme. They get pretty decent INT numbers, which is not shocking because when Dan Quinn's scheme was Dallas Cowboys defensive playbook a couple Maddens ago, they always had insane INT numbers. Jayden Daniels, back on the MVP shortlist. That's nice. And our elite strength blocking tight end somehow wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll take whatever XP boost that is so we can continue to develop him as a pass catcher. But I think it's fair to assume now that there's our Isaiah Likely replacement. All right, year 4, nothing to show for it would be, I'd be greedy. I'll take it to a year 5 Super Bowl bust. Just give me some playoff success. Can we get baby steps? I'd like 2 playoff wins this run minimum. If we can get at least 1 to know that it's possible that Jayden Daniels can win a playoff game in Madden, that'd be pretty badass, all things considered. Minnesota strikes first. We're able to get a decent drive, had to settle for a field goal. 3 field goals, huh? Classic Jayden Daniels. Now with our new approach to realistic rebuilds, where it's you can lose and we'll revisit. Not the worst thing as an NFC East hater outside of the Eagles that Commanders just suck in Madden, and we're finding that out here firsthand. That there may be a worse scheme than the Jets. This is fucking terrible. Dude. Again. Defense gives up 4 touchdowns to J.J. McCarthy. 90% ultimate robo quarterback. Jayden Daniels, the opposite end of the spectrum. Terrible. Couldn't run the football. Defensively, no sacks, no INTs. Do we get a PB? Daly with 1 forced fumble and a TFL. He's the only guy that isn't walking back from Minnesota to, FedEx Field. Fuck. A bummer because I would have liked to see his stats. And again, another thing for Matt, another request. I got to put this on. When someone retires, I should be able to hit A and go look at their career stats. But Scary Terry retires here after 10 seasons. And as someone that, one of the players that I do and have always liked on the Commanders, kind of bummed out we couldn't get him a ring before he hung it up. This puts us in a very interesting spot here in free agency. We have $121 million, and if we get a bad roll in free agency, we may have to hit the trade market. Because, Scary Terry's gone. I could, Tyson is our wide receiver 1, which is fine. It's not like Scary Terry was our wide receiver 1. Lingo, developing a little bit slower than expected. He's still a superstar, but we now need another wide receiver. Everything else, again, it's just this offense is just severely underperforming. There's no, our run game is very good, right? Bill's getting almost 15 touchdowns a year, well over 1,000 yards. Offensive line, great across. I guess that left guard spot, if there's a really, really nice guard that hits the open market, we could consider it. Like, I think Childress at X Factor tight end, we continue to develop there. Defensively, fuck, I don't know. Our edge rushers are good. Our D tackles, we have a lot of depth there. Jacoby Dean finally gets a dev trade. Our linebackers are good. We're going to let Cook walk, so free safety is going to be a need. Fortunately, we lose the superstar dev on Sainer still, but our corner room, 89, 87, 87, is probably, like, I think our secondary overall, especially throwing the fact that Martin at least brings an X factor to the table. Like, this is a top 5 secondary, a top 5 front 7, right? At minimum, maybe even like top 3 if you're just looking at the NFC, because that's who we're competing against right now. Can't even get a goddamn playoff win. So, damn, I mean, I don't know. We have way too much money, though, and we've had no success. We gotta make something happen. We're going to start by declining the 5th-year option on Mr. Tyson and on Arvell Reese. And the reality is, I guess, we come back for another rebuild. We don't necessarily have to spend crazy money, but I do want both these guys to be retained, and that is going to be a lot of that 121 that rolls over if we don't spend a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So we got to kind of keep that in mind. That if we take an L year 5, we will revisit. And if we made just like 2 dumb trades, and when we come back, we can't sign our 2, like, you know, blue chip players on both sides of the, like, that's gonna be a problem. So we go to free. Oh, damn, 41 a year, dude. We've used Amon-Ra before, but we might have to. Every rebuild is independent of one another. We always have to kind of treat it as such. Looking at it, Philly's losing some dogs here on the offensive line, but we feel real good about our offensive line. You go to the defense. I mean, we're really happy with our defensive tackle depth. Javon Dexter's there, Vita Vea's there. I like all of our no linebacker upgrades, no secondary upgrades. Of course, Brian Cook is the best safety available. But I think that we'll go. I have made safety our focus scout position, so I think we kind of hone in on safety in the draft. We do whatever it takes to get the best safety in the draft. And I think with Scary Terry retiring, I hate that that's 4 years. I mean, there's zero interest, right? But we could. Like, what about 3? And we go like 22 and 25. Fuck you. All right, we're looking at trades. Bottom teams here. Any wide receivers we on Denver? No. Miami? No. I mean, we can go see Jalen Waddle. Maybe we go see what maybe Ron Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr. It's kind of let's go see what's going on there if we want to make a trade at wide receiver. Jalen Waddle at this point is an 88 star. Okay. 30 years old, right? Like, he's probably going to be the most realistic trade candidate. But, for the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr., 27. I'd feel okay. I'd rather, I don't know if they would trade it. It's a down year, but they got their quarterback. Would they be giving up a little Ohio State connection there? I don't know. And then for the Bears, Odunze. I mean, again, same kind of story here. They have their quarterback. Let's see what this. See what they want from Marvin Harrison Jr. Actually, we'll start with the Odunze and just see what they want. Okay, they don't want to trade him. What about you guys? Come on. Okay. Hey, I'm not making that trade, but they're willing to trade him. Let's see. So a first-round pick gets us halfway there. So that this at least tells me, from a realism standpoint, they're not winning a lot. They're in sell mode here. Let's look at their needs. They need a D tackle. Oh boy. Do I have something for you guys? We're so close. I'm looking at their needs. They need D tackle, guard. Here's D tackle and a guard that are starters on that Cardinals team. And for what it's worth, I did throw in the younger. Okay, let's go full disclosure. Right now, going with like kind of the salary cap dumps from our standpoint, we're very close. Now, if I throw in our at the same position players that have more upside, does it give a? I'd be willing. Okay, see, look, it doesn't affect it in the value either or. And there was no other way. I had to throw in our second this year to make this thing go over the line. So we said Jazon Newton, 81 start FD tackle, still in his prime. We said Coleman, 77 start F guard, still in his prime. We throw a first and second this year, a second next year, a third in 2 years' time, and we get an 89 superstar wide receiver. That, again, we're going to throw everything at the wall to try and make Jayden Daniels play like his stats should have him play like. We're excited to have Marvin Harrison Jr. here. But he needs to be a game changer for that price point. Now, the bad news is we've given up all of our picks. So, we need a safety. And the safety market... Well, this guy would have been sick. Xavier Maiden. And we would have been able to, for sure, get him. First rounder. And we just aren't in a position to draft anything too crazy there. Strong safety as well. There's some value right there. Denard, first, second rounder. But it's very uncommon that you get, like, gems at safety late. So I think there's a reality right now that we need to look at, like, good tackling corners, which is a good trait of, like, finding stud corners. So we have, like, this guy right here, Jayden Knight, has B-man coverage, A tackle. I love A tackle corners. So that's kind of like a thing that I want to do, right? But then look at this guy. Junior Ramsey is a projected UDFA. I was expecting maybe like a draft storyline to like hurt him and knock him down the board. Look at this guy. UDFA DB, 5'11", 204. Kind of built like he could be a safety. B-man A-zone. Way down here. B tackle as well. What? There's got to be something going on there. So we're going to check him out as well. So look at the corners that we scouted. We got a second, third round talent. So like right on value there for Jayden Knight. Top 5 on Junior Ramsey. Unfortunately, man, a little bit of a whiff there for a day 3. But there you go. That's traded all of our picks, and we found the guy. So I think we get both of them. I mean, at this point, we're gonna go top 5 corner right away just to secure his services. But we could start here in the 4th round. I think Knight would still be there. I mean, just making sure. Wow, he's gone. Well, I guess little old Commanders who have a shiny new Marvin Harrison Jr. for our day 1 of draft. We'll just go get a top 5. He's probably going to be number 5. Oh, he's number 4. Junior Ramsey, 120. No dev trait. Wow. I mean, I guess he couldn't be the perfect player available. Interesting to see what that base rating's going to be. We traded guard, so we need some depth. We got a double B guard here, UDFA grade, top 100 player in Cam Tucker, but no dev trade. Damn. Should be like 70 plus, though. From a draft recap standpoint, I mean, I don't hate our class. We were able to find maybe the best safety available, getting almost a 70 rating. It's just one of our day 3, Zach Betts at strong safety. But I do think we might have to get a little creative with our DBs. Tucker, 73 normal. Junior Ramsey, a 79 projected UDFA player, which I think, yeah, you, sir, have you thought or considered about making a change? Let's do it right now. You're going to be a free safety for us. I'll take whatever ratings decrease that may happen there. Maybe played the star position for Al, like similar to like a Minkah Fitzpatrick. Rating doesn't change at all. Let's go. Look at the rest of the class. Well, that's probably why the Cardinals were selling to the number 1 pick. They go get themselves a franchise tackle. Damn, not too often a second-round wide receiver as an 80-plus rated player. So here we go. Year 5, Super Bowl or bust for the Washington Commanders. We've kind of crushed this whole draft. Everything about this rebuild I think we've done to the best of our ability. Right, we've kind of kept and rebuilt and retooled the offensive line. We had Laramie Tunsil maybe surprisingly retire a little early. Oh, we just went out, got a clear-cut replacement there. Drafting Jordyn Tyson, we got Ringo, who's developed nicely. Bill has stuck around nicely. We dealt with Jayden Daniels' contract. You're not going to just move off for him, but 92 X Factor, that's, yes, that's a guy that should be able to figure it out. And then with Scareds Terrence retiring, we go and make a huge trade at the risk of not being able to get a starting safety to get Marvin Harrison Jr. And we've kind of, I don't want to say mortgaged the future because we only gave up one first-round pick, but we, significant draft capital. If we don't hit here on this Super Bowl bust, when we take, I'm probably going to forget I made this trade and be like, wow, fuck, we have no picks. So Marvin Harrison Jr. has to hit. This has to be like the missing piece. We have 3 superstar wide receivers, an X-Factor tight end, and a running back that's been getting 15 rushing touchdowns automatically. This needs to be a potent top 5 offense across the board. Defensively, special talents. Look at it. I mean, Arvell, Reese, 89 superstar. Henry Daly, I'm shocked he's not a superstar to have 15-plus sacks a year ago. Secondary, 86, 87, 86. We got Ramsey, the absolute value of all value picks in the draft, just starting as an 80 free safety, scheme fit as well. Linebacking core, there's no weakness. Maybe no game changes at linebacker, but I mean, the production's been on point. Sanders and Dean they've just consistently been getting a bunch of turnovers, a bunch of tackles. So from like a Sims perspective, they're doing their job very well. There is really no weakness to this team, and somehow we're going into year 5 with 0 success. So because we've yet to win a Super Bowl, we're here year 5, we got to talk about contracts. This may be a part 2 rebuild at some point. So, with the Marvin Harrison Jr. trade, we still got, we got a lot. And the reason why we got a lot is because we're about to give a lot. 153 to Jordyn Tyson, have to pay it. Arvell Reese, 127. I think I want that for 5 years. So let's go 159. I mean, I don't think we're that far. Maybe 160. Gets that one across the line, which it does. Now we got 92 remaining, which is still, we're in the pay whoever we want to pay. Nakobe Dean's just not developing. I think both these linebackers are certainly replaceable. I think Martin's, I'd like to keep Rivers. I don't love the fact that he doesn't really want to stay. Let's go. I mean, Laulu likes, I like guys that want to buy in. I think $10 million for a top 10 center is worth it. And then I think I'd be fine with, what does he turn down? 27, maybe 28. Go sprinkle a little more on Sanders. I think, unfortunately, everyone else is TBD at best. So at the end of year number 5, another great regular season. Maybe not elite regular season, but great. 12-5. Greens, not. The Jets rebuild, if you remember, it was just like, okay, it was me against this scheme. But it did become a point in time where I was like, we couldn't get a good roll. I couldn't fire an OC or DC and bring in a new playbook. They just weren't rolling. I haven't even really considered that. And I'm kind of glad I stuck it through. Look at that. 3rd in points per game. Top 10 in yards and rush yards. Number 1 defense. Number 1 rush defense. A top 10 pass defense. Yet in 5 seasons, we've yet to win the NFC East. From a statistical standpoint, Jayden Daniels finally playing like an X Factor, playing like a 90-plus rated quarterback, so maybe the Marvin Harrison Jr. trade was worth it. 4,500 yards, 39 touchdowns to 8 picks. Our run game was still pretty damn good, kind of getting what we're supposed to be getting there. 4 rushing touchdowns, so Jayden Daniels over 40 on the year. Receiving, now Marvin Harrison Jr. maybe he made life easier for everybody else. Right? Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. being on the team. Like if you told me that I had to pay what I paid to get back to 2,000-yard receivers, no matter what way it kind of break down. Shout out Jordyn Tyson, over 100 catches, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. I think as a collective, that trade worked out. If it made life easier on our other 2 playmakers. I also say that kind of crying on the inside because it would have been nice at minimum for Marvin Harrison Jr. to be that guy that just got over 1,000 yards. But okay, it is what it is. Defensively, Drew Sanders, who I did kind of pick him over Nakobe Dean re-signing. leads the team in tackles. 12 sacks, Henry Daly. 9.5, Rashad Ali. 9.5 from Zach Price. Fuck, why is Arvell Reese? What happened? Why are sacks so... Now, it is what it is, but, like, where did this go? His position has not changed. He's been right edge. He's been right rush edge. I don't know. Kind of frustrating because he is, a kind of a potential thumbnail type player. But shout out Henry Daly taking his shine for whatever way it breaks down. Sacks are there. Interception. Trey Amos with 4. 3 for Quan Martin. 2 for Rivers. Not overly disappointed with those picks. Honestly, I thought Jayden Daniels would have got a lot more love. I thought he was going to win MVP, to be honest. Nope. The honest of all honests are, nope, overrated, I guess. Jordyn Tyson wins Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year. Jayden Daniels, runner-up to Fernando Mendoza. I'm actually watching right now, Indiana versus Wisconsin. Thought, again, he would win that award. But, I mean, he's already an X Factor, so it's not like we're chasing dev traits. But for the third time in this rebuild, we are meeting the Detroit Lions on the road in the wild card. But at least, we can say overall, our team's never been this strong. We've always been a lower-rated team across the board than Detroit in the previous 2 matchups. And with how our team's actually playing, this is, what better time? Year 5 Super Bowl bust to be playing your best football. I think we absolutely are a Super Bowl winning caliber team. But 0-3 in the playoffs, 2 of those 3 losses in the wild card against Detroit is third time the charm. Come on, man. And it's like, it's one of those things, sometimes there's different ways to lose. Not all losses are the same. Our losses have been the same. Jayden Daniels has done fuck all, and our defense has done fuck all. Now, we know we come in for sure. We have the #1 defense and an MVP caliber quarterback. This should not be low score. This should be an ass kicking. So I do like the fact our defense is kind of showing up. I do like the fact we're building out a little bit of a lead, and we have 14 points. That is a great cushion to have as we look for our first playoff victory. 17-0 if you're on Bet365. That's an early payout. But Detroit in the 4th trying to make it interesting. But I don't even think this team would choke that. 17-7. Our first playoff win comes all the way in year 5. Man, we're just at that point, man, where we've lost enough that this team's finally got to figure it out. Jayden Daniels has been perennially not good in the playoffs. And he outduels no longer Jared Goff. Maybe that was honestly the difference. No Jared Goff. They went with a rookie quarterback out of Arizona State. And our former Arizona State quarterback played a lot better. He was efficient. 72%, 1 touchdown, no picks. They also had a rushing touchdown, so 2 total tutties on the day. Shout out Ryan Wingo. Don't love, Tyson and Marvin Harrison only having like 40 yards. It's a lot of money to only have 40 yards. Shout out the defense, though. Henry Daly. Can't tell you enough. If you're not watching a lot of college football, this is a pass rusher to pay attention to. Very good play. Every time I've watched Utah play, he has been outstanding. Every time I've watched Utah play, and Utah's a bubble playoff team for college football, he's been the best player every single time. Arvell Reese with a sack, which I love to see. Aliyah, a superstar D-tackle with a sack as well. Offense, defense, getting the job done. Let's keep that momentum rolling here in the divisional round. And all things considered, the Saints in the division, that's not a terrible roll. 10-7, they got a good team. Almost a 90-rated offense. Top 10 rushing. Their defense is very good in the greens across the board. Looking at their actual team, they got Dante Moore at quarterback. Just from like, Saints kind of suck. How did they get here? So Dante Moore, not a great stat line. Good player, though. I'm excited to finally get to a rebuild where we can use Dante Moore. We got some decent scrambling numbers. Dylan Sampson at running back. Xavier Worley, he was the big-name wide receiver free agent a year ago. 1,000 yards. Olave still doing his thing. They get Strange from the Jags. Okay, they spread the ball around defensively. D. Winters looks pretty impressive. Colin Simmons, the big-time edge rusher. They spent a lot of money in free agency. Look, they got Tui Pelotu, who probably got 2-3 years ago. He was the top edge rusher available. They got Vita Vea, Kool-Aid. Okay. We should win. This should not be the team that sends us with a big L for this Commanders rebuild. So much so that I may hop in. I will cash it in, and I won't hop in for any other game if we do decide to hop in. This just seems like A classic. There's no way we should really lose this game. We're the #1 defense. Our offense is so much better than their offense. They are not better than us at anything, and they don't even have a good scheme. It's not even just like, oh, their players suck, but they're putting up, 40, 50 touchdowns or anything. No, there's nothing about it except us being cursed and underperforming. That could be what cost us here. Now we are tied at 14. Oh my God, come on. Okay, go ahead, score. Oh, let's go. Clutch when they need to be clutched. 21-17. The Commanders are heading to the NFC Championship game, and there we go. I do need to see who was it Ryan Wingo, 18-yard passing touchdown from Jayden Daniels. So the clutch play comes from our quarterback. Did have a turnover, but it's about damn time Jayden Daniels is a big reason why we won. Last game, I'm going to give the game ball to the defense. This game, look, Wingo, Tyson over 100 yards defensively. John Henry Daly doing what he does best. But finally, we get Jayden Daniels putting the team on his back. And in year 5, giving us a chance at a potential Super Bowl if we can win one more game. And there couldn't be a better matchup, I don't think. NFC Championship game, we get the 1 seed, the division-winning New York Giants, 13-4, #1 rushing offense. Cam Scatterbo is disgusting. They get Lenore Sellers at quarterback, who is very topical today. If you're watching, pay attention right now. It's halftime college football. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers beating the brakes off #3 Texas A&M, who I'm kind of regretting. I live bet the Aggies not too long ago. I think my Navy over ranked South Florida bet's looking pretty good, though, to maybe offset it. But Lenore Sellers is crushing it. I'm pretty sure we split the regular season 1-1. Our team overall played better than theirs did this year. But the Giants have consistently, kind of been the reason why. And a big part why. I'm feeling a little bit earlier on. Why we have 5 years, no NFC championships. It's the run game. Cam Scatterbo's a sim god. The fact that you pair Lenore Sellers with that is an absolute problem. Unless you're like a Jackson Dart fan, unfortunately didn't work out. Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, that's pretty cheesy, pretty disgusting. They also drafted Denzel Boston. They got Overshown at linebacker, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy. Legit team. It's going to be a very tough game on the road. But for us, year 5 Super Bowl or bust in the snow. We got a dual threat quarterback. But usually snow games do benefit, oh my God, the team that can run the football a little bit better. And that is absolutely the New York Giants. But we have the #1 defense. So if our #1 defense can make this game ugly, do their job, who knows? How did we just get a red zone with no points? Oh, it's one of them games, isn't it? It's just going to be like, oh, doesn't matter. All right, I got to hop in. Got to give us at least a fighting chance here. In the 4th quarter. Let's go divide wheel. Oh, it's so bright. Oh, my God. Oh, of course, we're away. Oh, it doesn't matter, though. Look. Marvin Harrison Jr. This is actually my first time 2 picks. Jayden Daniels. No, dude. I glazed you a little. How are we getting no points? 2 red zone drives. Looking like we're fucking on 3 in a row with a 0. Even give me field goals. Oh my God, just throw. This is insane, dude. Oh, Wingo! I am too old. My eyes are too shot to be playing this. This is a hazard. End of game drive. Can we get the win? We get the touchdown! No! Let's go play by play. 2nd and 4. We get a 3rd and 1 to Bill. 3rd and 1. Need a score. First down. Bill. 1st and 10. Jayden Daniels fucking sucks, man. I'm sorry you watch. I'm sorry you think I'm an Eagles hater. But this guy just can't get the job done. 3 picks are scheme saying in a blizzard, let's throw it 40 times. Definitely didn't help him out any. But this guy has 4, 5, 6. We've played 6 playoff games. He's had 1 game where he's been like an asset to the team. 5 playoff games where Jayden Daniels is essentially the reason why we lost. Garbage. Look at that. Marvin Harrison Jr., the trade, the panic, the Hail Mary trade in the biggest game, 10 catches, $156 and a touchdown. We put the pieces around Jayden Daniels. And he sucks, man. Not it. I think we're going to have a very interesting part 2 of this rebuild when we come back to it. Because I think I'm shipping this guy off to Canada. See it. Welcome to the CFL, bud. This ends up being our 3rd L. I'm looking back at our rebuilds. I got a little notebook here that I'm keeping. So we did the Titans, Super Bowl. Ravens, Super Bowl. Cardinals, our 1st L. So that's 2-1. Giants, Super Bowl, 3-1. Dolphins, Super Bowl, 4-1. Jets, L, 4-2. Colts, Super Bowl, 5-2. Cowboys, Super Bowl, 6-2. And the Commanders bring us, it's not a bad record, 6-3 in our first 9 realistic rebuilds. And it gives us at least 3 more rebuilds to come back once we do the 32 to revisit. But this, maybe out of all of them, because like Cardinals one is so far, I can't really remember that one. But I remember the Jets one. The Jets one, I got to get a new playbook. You can't win with that Jet scheme. But I know what's wrong there. This one, I think I know what's wrong. I don't really want to say it, but also kind of need to say it. As we always like to do, look at the player stat recap from what they've been able to accomplish in their careers, including this rebuild. 21,000 yards passing, Jayden Daniels, 164 touchdowns, 38 picks. And I think the kind of summary here is like in the regular season, he's been solid, had a huge year here in year 5, but he's at like 28, so he's pretty much near the end of his prime. For quarterbacks in Madden, like 28 to 32, if you're playing at a decently high level, you won't regress too bad, but you're not going to get a lot better. Now you're kind of maintaining at this stage. And the fact that he has been, again, 6 playoff games, he's been a problem in 5 of the 6. You know? Interesting. I think another thing is like, our scheme just doesn't suit his skill set. Maybe this is something that will happen in real life. He'll kind of be like Lamar Jackson and understand that he's such a scrawny quarterback that maybe you're not going to be able to maximize his scrambling ability as much in the NFL to keep him healthy. But from a Madden standpoint, he's a great dual threat, and he just never ran the football in our scheme. So we're kind of hindering him a little bit. Bill was solid, 5,500 yards, 65 touchdowns. 15 fumbles is kind of a lot. Receiving, we made the trade for Marvin Harrison Jr., but we had Jordyn Tyson, just under 4,800 yards, 49 touchdowns. Awesome. He's well on his way to a 99. Wingo's developed a little bit slower than expected, but a former Offensive Rookie of the Year, superstar to have playmaker. We have on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, we bring in Kobe Dean from the Eagles, but like Martin was solid for us from a sack standpoint. 38 sacks, Henry Daly, 37 from Arvell Reese. A great 1-2 punch pass rush that I think we definitely could continue to grow and develop. Samerstill and Martin both with 15 picks. Happy with that. Those guys were productive. Amos developed into a really nice corner for us. It's just one of those type rebuilds. It's maybe the worst kind of conclusion because I don't really know when we come back what we really should do. Because we could come back and trade Jayden Daniels and then find out maybe it's a scheme thing. Like I haven't really been over the moon with our scheme until this year 5 where like everything was green. I don't know. I think that would maybe make it interesting if we come back and we're like, let's see what we could get for Jayden Daniels. But I don't know for a fact that that's the issue. Like, again, the Jets rebuild, scheme's the issue. I go get a good offense. Doesn't have to be a meta offense, but a better offense, better defense. That team, that Jets team, real good. Good to go. This is like, we proved this year that this scheme can work. Just, it wasn't a bad game in a blizzard that kind of cost them. And then on the defense, I mean, again, how do you fix it? It's good. Played the number one. We were the number one defense in the league, so I don't think there needs to be like the big do we trade this guy? Like, I think it just didn't work out, and I think it's gonna be I'm almost looking forward now to like how do we come back, revisit this rebuild, and figure it out. So if you've done the Commanders rebuild and maybe have won a Super Bowl and you have an idea, definitely let me know in the comment section below. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed, leave me a comment as well on what team you want to see next in our Madden 26 Realistic Rebuild series. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace, I love ya, have a good one.